Good morning. This is one of my come eat with me videos. It's a Friday morning here and I've got my rooibos green tea. Some people say red bush, don't they? Rooibos. I'm not quite sure why I'm supposed to say it. But there you go, I've got that. And I've got my breakfast here. We are going out today for a big long day. We're going to a theme park and we're leaving in like half an hour. And so this is about the only time today I'm going to have to come and connect with you. So I thought I'll come with my breakfast. So if you haven't caught my come eat with me videos before, this is me as a holistic coach who deals with gut to butt healing. And I share about how I healed my gut to butt issues, finally tuning in and using the stuff I knew about in all the other areas of my life, but was completely blind to in this area of my life. And I let go of it all being about food and rules and trying hard, and actually did the energetic healing work that got me the results to enjoy the health and the freedom that I'm so grateful for today, and especially on days like today, because we're going out for a big long day. And that's what I thought I'd chat to you about today: food anxiety. And like that would have been a major thing for me. But first I'll tell you what I'm eating before I start eating it. So I share my food with you. It's nice for me. It's a nice time for me to come and connect with you and eat with you. I'm going to be eating on camera, so if you don't like that, this is not the video for you. Go and check out some other ones. But a lot of people here like talking about food and sharing their food experiences and talking about either their enjoyment of food or their challenges around what they're eating. All of that's welcome here. So for me today, I have got some firm tofu, which I cut up into pieces, and I just have that cold. And on there, I've got a little bit of mint, which is from my mint plant that was given to me by my hubby. I really appreciate that because it came as a gift, as well as the fact it's mint, if you know what I mean. And I've got peanut butter. It's actually what is it called? The peanut butter powder, PB2, whatever it's called. And it's the peanut butter powder that you can rehydrate. And I like that. It's kind of defatted. And I love peanut butter. And I've got grated over it some 100% absolute cacao. So it's just completely dark chocolate with mint in it. And I've just grated some of that on the top. And then I've got some blueberries and some sliced strawberries. So that's my breakfast at the moment. So I'm going to have some of this. But yeah, I was thinking about how when we have a long day out, it would cause me so much anxiety around food, because what would be some of the things I would overthink? Number one, what am I going to eat? Full stop. You know, there's unlikely to be anything that I could buy at like a theme park, which is all like the food options are all like fast food, aren't they? And honestly, it's not my preference now either. But I would think there really isn't anything I can get. And so I'd need to, if I wanted to eat when I was there, I'd have to take food. I have to carry food all day. And you have to make time to prep that food to carry it all day, etc., etc. Which is all doable, but it's annoying, isn't it? Like carrying a lot of stuff. And then I'd think like what my eating and fasting patterns would be and how I'd fit that around the day. And then I'd often make decisions like I'd eat in the morning before we were going, because when I fasted longer, I tended to eat in the morning and then fast through the day. But then there'd be this like, you know, thinking about how much would I eat? Would it be enough? Would it sustain me? And then I tend to overeat. And then there'd be like connecting to that, and then it'd be like, what if I need to go for a poo? Will I go before I leave? Well, what if I'm not ready? What if I need to go in on there? I don't like that. If you've got butt issues going on, it's not always comfortable, you know, and you start thinking about your food around that. And I know this is the same for my friends who've got like, I had IBS-C, so like more constipation stuff. But those of you who have sort of IBS with diarrhea stuff, you know, people wanting to avoid eating because of that fear of then needing to find a toilet and it all being uncomfortable and unpleasant and all that. And especially if you're out with your kids and stuff, it's just also inconvenient, isn't it? So, you know, I just wanted to chat about that because it's like, it just puts this big shadow over the day, you know, thinking about food, thinking about toilets, you know, and you just want to go. I just want to go today and have fun and go on the rides, and I can, and it's amazing. I'm really excited actually because my daughter's just really got into like out of the kids' rides and into like the more sort of like family roller coasters, so I get to go on some of the bigger rides today. And I love the ride. So that'll be really fun. And I think as well for me, this is sort of quite a particular and personal one, but you might have other versions of it. Because my daughter's autistic and she doesn't really like the sound of people eating. It's quite hard, and we're out all day together, it's quite hard to find time for me to eat because she's, you know, when we're in those environments, she's quite like, there's a lot going on, you know, busy, loud, lots of people eating, lots of food, you know, and I'm really quite sort of focused on supporting her. But you obviously might not have that, but that can come up in all kinds of ways, kind of, if you're a parent, if you're a carer, where it's like there are reasons that can be in the way of you really meeting your full desires and needs on certain days, which are tenfold when you've got that anxiety around your gut to butt stuff going on. I know, like when my daughter was a baby and I was nursing, you know, it's like, it could be hard to like sit and enjoy my food at all the right times and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of what other examples, but even work is an obvious one, isn't it? You know, or if you're in, or you're studying or whatever, and you've got like a long shift or a long lecture, and it's how you plan around that. It can be really tough. This is really nice. It's really hot here at the moment, and so the foods I fancy tend to be sort of quite a sort of light thing. It's funny actually, I was talking to my husband the other day about that, and he was saying, you always say that about how you want different foods when the weather changes. I don't really get that. And I thought, oh, really? Does everyone not feel like that? I think that was normal, but I'm wondering now, do you want to eat different foods when the weather's different? If it's hot, I tend to fancy more light things like fruits and salads and I don't know, cottage cheese, and I quite often make up like cold meat things, chicken, ham, cheese, stuff like that. He seems to eat sort of fairly consistently, and we're all wired differently like that, aren't we? Like definitely something I've looked at, different like energetic printing systems, way of understanding our makeup that I've looked into, you know, really support the fact that we all are designed to eat differently as much as we're designed to live differently. And that was quite hard for me to accept when I had quite fixed views about what was right and what was wrong, and when I was, you know, a bit of a food holistic dictator. I'm sorry to everybody who was on the other side of that. I mean, genuinely, I know some of you tune in who are, you know, friends, and I've definitely given people lectures, meaning them in love, about sugar and seed oils and all these things. Are they the best thing to eat abundantly every day? Probably not. Are they going to harm you? Probably not. So yeah, I've been there, and I'm doing my very best to show up in my authenticity and vulnerability in that, and try and undo anything that I've done to put these thoughts into other people's psyches. I especially really feel that as a parent, and try not to carry that as guilt, because that's not supportive, is it? We're all doing our loving best all the time, and it's okay to be growing and changing our mind about things all the time. In my other life from this channel, I run a Facebook group for parents who have children, young people with the same diagnosis as my daughter, which is a subtype of autism called PDA. And you know, a lot of the parents in that group are constantly struggling with the times where they didn't know what they know now, and what they wish they could go back and do differently. But it's all perfect, isn't it? You know, because what did I hear the other day? Made me laugh. Oh, it's like the story of the one-armed alligator wrestler. You know, we kind of we learn through our, in inverted commas, mistakes. Like, isn't that what this life's all about? This kind of human training ground. We're finding things out, and we're growing and expanding, and it's gorgeous. I need to blow my nose, excuse me. So, we're heading out. Oh, in about 10 minutes, so I get on in a minute. I'm going to be in big trouble if I'm not ready. My girl is one for watching the clock to the minute, and I am a bit lax. So, I've got to put my sun cream on in a minute because it's going to be a scorching one. So I've got some bottles of water in the freezer, so they can stay cool today. And I'm having my breakfast now. We're stopping off for my daughter's en route. She's got something planned in her mind. And then she'll have food there. And I've packed a little bit for me, because they do things like you know, like diner food, like burger and fries and stuff like that. And honestly, it's just like, it's not my jam. It's okay if I have to make do, but it's not what I rather spend my money on, to be honest. So I've got I've packed up like a little wrap, and I made a protein shake, and it's got some fruit and stuff like that. So I've got some bits in a little lunchbox. And I'll just want something light in the day, because we'll be busy and running around, and that'll keep me going, and then I can have something when I get in. And I think that's another thing that makes a big difference. When I had strict rules around fasting regimes, now I'm not anti-fasting, just to be clear. I still do some intermittent fasting, but I do it in an intuitive, very gentle way. I tend not to be an evening eater, so I tend to, you know, have my last meal earlier generally, because that feels right and good, not because it's like how it should be, in inverted commas. But when I used to have like fasting rules, or I put those boundaries around, because I didn't trust myself to not have those rules there, or that my body could do well outside that, or that my weight would be managed, etc, etc. There would be this sort of like anxiety. If I wanted to have like an early evening meal, would I then take that with me as well, because I wouldn't want to eat later? Or would I just skip that meal, and then do I need more food at lunchtime because I'm going to be hungry. You know, like this, like so much of my day, so much of my energy absorbed with considering my food, considering my digestion. It's like, just takes up so much space, doesn't it? And so, and it's not like this big, you know, making it sound like I'd sit down and have a big think about this for a day. It's just like that ticking over in the back of your mind all the time, isn't it? Taking up some of your energy, taking up some of your thinking, just getting in the car and going and having a nice time. And I suppose what's coming to my mind is for people tuning in thinking, you know, is that an eating disorder? And I think there are, you know, I'm not a dietitian or doctor, so I'm just pondering this on a personal level, not in any authority. But I just think there are different levels. When I was younger, I had an eating disorder, and I could absolutely identify that. I have bulimia, and it was very clear that was an eating disorder, and it affected my health, and it affected my mental well-being, etc., etc. But there are different sort of more subtle stages, and the more women I talk to, honestly, because of this work that I do, you know, I hear honesty, and you know, the more I realise that it's almost the norm that particularly women have some sort of disordered thinking or experience with food and their body. And, you know, we have to have these categories and labels of where that starts to become problematic, you know, to our physical and mental health. But it doesn't mean there's not these sort of ripples all the time. And definitely the sort of orthorexia is something I became very aware of in the sort of later stages of my struggling to get my diet right, in inverted commas, to heal my gut. You know, where you become quite anxious about certain groups of foods. So yeah, so it's kind of, it's a lot to contemplate, but what really matters is, am I feeling well? Am I thriving? You know, is life supporting me? Am I feeling good and enjoying myself? Am I happy? Am I healthy? And we need to keep asking those things. Now, I haven't really finished my breakfast, but I can hear my daughter running around and I'm getting aware of the time. So I think I'm going to say goodbye and go and show her that I'm here getting ready. So she's not feeling anxious and coming to get me. So I hope you have a really good day. I hope if you're having brekkie with me, it's yummy, or whatever meal you're joining me for, then it's nourishing you and feeling good as it goes in and as it comes out. And take lots of care of yourself. Lots of love. See you soon. Bye.